My greatest struggle is my inability to connect. I feel that no matter how smart or how much I work, I will never get to a place of being understood. That I don't understand how to be understood. That I'm waiting patiently to just be understood. I'm producing all this work and waiting to, get paid for that work. That sometimes I am tempted to go and do things in a manner that would give me great wealth, but it bores me. Like that's it's a good thing, especially because I'm not in a bad position right now. But I see myself getting into a bad position. But doing it another way, like selling out, grifting, doing right wing media, all of that, I could do it, but it just bores me. It doesn't lead into anything. Sure, it's safety, but it sacrifices everything else. That I could grift, I could pander, but I know that I wouldn't even be the best at it because I don't meet the requirements. Because I'm not a white person, not a white man. So I know that I would never be on the top of the grifter scale. Like I might get a lot of money, but I wouldn't be safe. Because as soon as I grift that big, that high, that I would be ostracized from my communities, from my friends, my family. Like even if what's it called, my friends and family are cool with me grifting, they're always just going to use me for money. They're cool for me to be the scapegoat, and then they're collecting money, and then they'll be like, well, you can't use it, so let us have it. I'm like, no, we were supposed to have it together. Well, we can't. You can't go out together because the other black people don't want to hang out with you. So just give the money to me. And I'm like, I don't want to be used that way. Well, you used us, so or you used the black diaspora, so it's like no different. Like, and no one feels bad for you. Um, Even if you say, "Oh, I'm not gonna hang out with any black people. I'm not gonna be around," um, the white people aren't going to treat you any better. Like, there's going to be a cap because like you grifted, you danced, you um, you succumb. And even if they were to give you some sort of respect, uh, like later on, you, or let's say black people as a whole, you're not really gonna get it. You're gonna be the last one because black people are gonna be like, you know what? We don't really care about you specifically. We're not gonna. You're not gonna be in the front of the line. It's like we're going to push everyone there. You'll eventually get there, but you're not gonna be in the front of the line. So if things start to change, you're gonna be the last one to not the last ones to get it, but you won't be the first one. Um, I so I don't see any point in grifting. I'm not going to try to do that and shuck and jive for any money because like that security is not even secure. It's a delusion of security, but knowing that more and more people are going to become capable and able, and this isn't going to be permanent, is really telling that I don't want to do that. I want to put my money into safe stocks. And safe stocks is change, is education, is people will do better, whether it be 10 years from now or 100. I want to put those stocks in the safe bet, but it starts to weigh on me because like I'm like I don't know when the safe stock is going to pay out, when I can actually cash them. You don't want to do it too early. Frankly, I'm a bit bored. And that's what gets to me: the boredom, the irritation. Maybe I'm like, oh, if I can get it now, if I can get it now. Like I'm trying to push it. Like I'm really trying to push it. And I'm like, it's not hitting. It's not hitting yet. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Why doesn't my girlfriend get it? Why doesn't my family get it? And it's just me scared, to be honest with you. I'm scared that I won't get to actually enjoy my youth. And that's why I'm in such a big hurry to produce content, to be out there. It's not because I'm ready to be out there, but because I'm looking at the position and seeing how unstable it is, seeing how boring it is. I'm watching the same repeated content over and over again. TikTok is failing, YouTube is failing, Google, all of these places, Meta, Facebook, they're failures. And the reason that they're failures is because they have been condensing and condensing and condensing into a point where it's trying to trap this energy, but um, condensing and all this removes energy until this one big explosion when people are finally fed up with the lack of versatility, where you're tired of engaging with the same thousand bot people, where you just actually ask yourself, if I'm gonna hang out with essentially bots that tell me the same thing anyway, why not just go hang out with these people in real life? It is just getting to a point where you're absolutely just bored and sick of it, where there's nothing else to do and you don't have anywhere else to go, where you're actually done, where you're so disgusted with it that you're no, not disgusted, not disgusted, no, bored. That's all that's gonna happen. That people are going to get so bored of this that people are going to want to turn off their phone, or just like there's not even an ability to turn on their phone, and people are just gonna get over it. I think that a lot of the terroristic, the cult like mindset, these Y2K Unabomber types, what really makes me laugh about them is that they took themselves way too serious. Like they had things that were right about what they were saying, like some portions about like technology being dangerous, but what they had just essentially done is boost technology, um, gave more credibility to use it. When I'm not saying wrong or right, because like who am I, but um, I'm saying that if it was taken a little less serious, and you come to the realization that like people were gonna get to that conclusion organically, or just like express or explain why it could have came organically, or with some positive ways or less damaging ways that people come to that position organically, I feel like there would be more of a conversation. But listening to the Unabomber, I forgot what his name was. Um, he sounded like a troubled kid with elitism problems that felt entitled, that believed that he was he was very smart, very smart, but he didn't know everything, and his disillusionment to the world was only on his perspective. But he failed to recognize, he came to conclusions that kept his existence around, like his superiority around, and then said everyone else is falling beneath, failing. Like this, there's no good or benefits, or this is not beneficial. This, it was very one-sided in his perspective. If the world really was and it gained all of that, why couldn't others just organically come to this conclusion without the, massacring of others' lives? Why couldn't it just come organically? Why couldn't he teach it in a non terroristic way? No, it's one thing to say like, okay, you want to have a conversation, or even make a statement or a stance, but it kind of leaves out of the window when you're when it's random, when it's not even targeted. If he was so smart, why couldn't he go after direct targets, people that he deemed were that dangerous. If he was so smart, why couldn't he just show like his superiority in that way? Because the truth was he wasn't. Like he was smart, but not as smart or capable as him or his leaders would have thought he was. And it's not to get the wrath of them. I'm not trying to like put myself in the scope of especially with the followings is such pristine, but it shows like Orwell. The same thing with like the pig or Animal Farm. Like you got all these intellectual elitists that go around and spew. I don't want to say spew. That say a lot of information, but it is sometimes barely vetted or in a perspective that is like the Ben Shapiro effect, where you speak very fast and say a lot of things, but then it's like you can't check all of them. That it seems so very rushed, where it kind of still puts them in a position of power, where it leaves them where they are in a position to deem everyone else's position or to never question in the first place how it came to be or why people chose this or why didn't people fight back or who was comfortable, who was not comfortable, and who has the most to worry about, the most to lose, and who has the most to gain, and why changing that system would it benefit themselves, or like in what way? Because it could sometimes it could be monetarily, and sometimes it could be just a position or status or infamy or fame. You know, so many things, and I find that time after time after time that it's taken so seriously, but these people seem to fade. Like even when I try to remember them in their works, that their following always makes the most pretentious people. Like people that like it's hard to engage with them for longer than maybe a couple weeks of intervals where they barely even understand the words that they're spewing. Like if your works were that notable and memorable, why does it seem to that everyone that the quote follows you not able to recite the work by heart, or they get like a different like view of it or error. Like math is one of those things that I say is something hard to kind of mistake, not get right. Because if I said 2 + 2 = 4, even if you don't know like math, you would understand the concept. If I give you two pies and you get two more pies, even if you're like a 2-year old or a 3-year old, a toddler, you would still kind of understand the concept even though you couldn't verbally express that. But it's like when it comes to their work, when they recite this work, half the time it seems like they're getting whole different answers, different number values. Like sometimes they're similar, but other times I'm like, what is this even? What is this equation? Like, what are you trying to get rid of? It's the same with the anti-capitalist, anarchist, or communist, where it just like I notice who's in the crowd. Removing anything like too advanced, it, there's like a crowd of white dudes or a crowd of white people just like screaming, "Oh, down with capitalism and let's go into anarchy." And I'm like, I don't know what is going on here, but that terrifies me. Like in the history of this world and in the Western civilization, when prominently has any group of white people screaming anything not resulted in some minorities' incarceration, death, or disfigurement? I have yet to see that, and yet I'm supposed to just rely. No, this one's good. Has it historically ever been? That seems to be the one consistent thing. And I'm not saying this as, oh no, don't have movements or protest or anything, but it's just like if there if there's too much of if there's an understanding that white people, doesn't matter what the class, holds the majority of power. They have such a power that there is a imbalance. If then you have any movement that has a high population of white people, not only in the group, but the leadership, I'm going to put my coins on that it's going to fail because of the inability to understand the racial scope, history, and the problematic factors of the group. Like, it's always inevitably going to fail, and it's because it's not because the white people are incapable of leading things. It is because when you were born in a racist system that has been perpetuated for so long, that acting like you could just remove yourself with maybe the equivalent of a few days education, or or what you would say, like a few generations, or not even a few generations, one generation, or one decade, one lifetime, one whatever. You're going to erase all of the racial factors and history and biology, and you're going to remove yourself from what your parents and grandparents and great grandparents have done, and you're magically going to be cured of this. Like, I feel like that's the biggest insult that, like, so many people keep like overlooking. Like, hey, this is gonna take a lot of time, like a lot more time than either of us have. We're not gonna just solve this in one lifetime. And yet, very, very clearly, people still think that they could do this in one lifetime. And I'm like, so that's why I get all disheartened. Because it's like, I'm working very hard, not because I want to, but because, like, to keep up with the demand, to keep up with any relevancy. I have to, because now what is happening? White people are working very hard to kind of overturn things, but they're going in the wrong direction. So they're taking these things even further because they're rested, they have time, they have the resources, and I'm like, wait. I don't think you should have this. I don't think that you should be the one riding this. I think that you need to be walking. Let's say it's a bike. Let's say that they're taking a bike. Now they have the energy. They're pedaling. They're like, okay, we're gonna go here and here and here and here and here. And we're like, hey, you know what I've noticed? That none of us have energy to march towards freedom. None of us have the energy to get there. Maybe you need to teach us how to ride the bike, or ride a car, or ride a horse, or ride whatever, and you walk there. Let the rest of us be in the car, or the bike, or the horse, or whatever. And white people still like, huh, I can't hear you, because it's like, then they go there and they're like, come on, where's freedom? Where's freedom? Come on, where's freedom? I was like, huh? You didn't wait for the rest of us. None of us can pack up. None of us can eat. None of us can sleep or rest. It's like, just wait. We'll get there. You know, the camping trip doesn't start until we're all here. And instead, it's like, okay, everyone get on the back of the bike. I'll just drive everyone. It's like, okay, I'm going to take them here, and then I'm going to take them here, and I'm going to take them here. And then the person keeps getting lost, or it starts to be, like, hey, this is wearing on me, or I'm getting motion sick, or all of these reasonable reasons to stop or slow down, or just let somebody else take control of the plans. And yet it doesn't happen. So it's a continual problem where you have to make the white person comfortable and still placed in leadership. It's hard for me to even like take anarchy or even communism serious, in the way that it's portrayed, because like anarchy is simply just someone flipping the board and then grabbing all the pieces and then saying, okay, now restart the game. Because like there's always going to be a system. Like anarchy doesn't really work because like someone wants rules and order. There's always going to be rule and order. Um, but if I don't know when you're going to flip it, and I don't know that this is just you trying to grab power, so you're trying to like distract it and make it sound like, oh, okay, we're going to completely wipe the slate. But really, it's again a power grab, so you can feel comfortable, you can have the resources in lieu of someone else, and you're not going to really give me any of those resources unless I'm a part of your group, or I knew that you were going to do this. It doesn't do me any service to be a part of it. Communism has the issue of sacrificing everyone, sacrificing a person to for everyone else to be happy. So it doesn't sacrifice everyone, but it sacrifices the special, the chosen, the Messiah, or whatever. And what type of world should we have if we have to make human sacrifices for everyone else to be happy? That person can't live. That person can't. If they're supposed to be the best of us, and they can't even live amongst us, and what is the point of having it? Because they're the best. They're supposed to show us how to live continually. So, yeah, no, I don't want to participate in that. And I feel like that's the reason why it's failed so much, because like one, it just gets to a point where, okay, it's not working, or it's not being taken, or the books and the media surrounding it is not becoming any stronger. I get like repeatedly, okay, it didn't work in this time or this place. Maybe it'll work in a different market. But I feel like after a while, if something is not working, give it enough time. Maybe it will work in a different place. But to sit there and just be hard, staunch, never willing to change, never seeing that maybe right now is not the moment to utilize or instill this full idea, but maybe a slow change or a turn. But I think that's really what bothers me, just how staunch it is. And I'm a very staunch person in some regards, very strong-willed, but staunch. I won't even say staunch. I'd say I'm firm, malleable, very malleable. That if I know that this isn't going to effectively work, I'm not going to continue to do it. That I like, even if it's working, before it starts to dwindle and people start to catch on, I do different tactics. But no, not with communism. It's supposed to be, oh, this is the way it's supposed to go. This is the way it should be. I was like, okay, but it's not. People aren't engaging. People aren't truly changing. And if the majority of the people that follow it are young adults to children, I hate to tell you this, but your thing is not going to move. Children are the future. But have you continued to do the same things that you have done when you were a child? Like, even when, as an older man that I am now, I can't even watch anime the same way that I used to when I was a kid. Like, now that my testosterone is, started to weigh, and my, just as I'm aging and no longer as gullible or naive and in a position where I have things to fight for as I've grown into a man, it's like I don't have time to throw my life away for causes. I have to live longer to aid in their growth and benefits, as well as my own. So I don't even watch the shows the same way, because like not only did I learn the information, but now I crave more. Now I'm no longer just stuck in a rut. I found that my skills are wanted and needed, and now I can utilize them more. The problem with the and I won't say it's all communism, because like any movement, they have like a okay, here's this true version, and then here's the version that we got, and whatever, and blah blah blah. But whatever version is currently being used or utilized is not really effective. Um, a true version is when people are basically like they have no disabilities, no mental illness, and all just able-bodied people that are just tired. But that's the true version. But whatever this version is that anyone wants to say is just, it's not effective. And if it leads to violence as its only resort to keep there, then I think at that point it is it. But the problem with Animal Farm, what I even as a child thought of it as a weird thing. It showed it in a negative light. It kind of made its own points. It compared the animals, but I think that was really it's failing for me. As I'm trying to go back to remember what it exactly, but I'll say the failing of it was just the absolute negative portrayal, that there was never any like, hey, here's potentially some good things, or the reasons why it came into and how it truly can become corrupted and negative. But it was just someone like elitism. Like, if you were really this smart and this engaging, why couldn't you have figured out how to engage and talk to others and actually create systems and effectively avoid that, skip that, make something that would make absolute sure that this is obsolete, instead of trying to garner fame? How well was your life? The person, why am I only watching this as a propaganda, or as a smear campaign for another? Why can't you speak of your own in positive lights? The thing that you say is a viable solution in the works. And I guess because I watched the cartoon of it, but it's like the comparisons were I think smart for the time, something engaging, but it doesn't really hold up. As time has passed, it kind of, I think it shows great work, but just that, something, a relic of the past, me personally. And I don't have time to simply just argue with those in the past, but I say that even now, currently, most people's thoughts really show that. Like, I can argue with those people now because the thoughts are the same. And yet, I feel no more freer when listening to them. No inspiration, no hope, nothing that fills my stomach with anything. It doesn't even need to be new, just healthy. Like, what was the alternative? What was the things that it avoided saying? The racism, the bigotry, the not just simply class, but what had started that even before then? What were you going to replace it with? Something also unsustainable? Something that relied on people's continuing to be within their abuse? I doubt that George Orwell, or whatever his name, I think Orwell, would have acknowledged me as a person. I don't think that he would have seen me as the person. Like, he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to others that had been surrounded in whiteness. And that's the very fact. Like, I don't feel like he was a all person, so why all has to listen to him? If the person that I'm supposed to be listening to isn't known to not be a racist, doesn't have clear, like, articulate points that would prove to me that they would not be it has a level of dehumanization, discrimination, a racist background, a problematic background. Like, I'm not saying that you can't have issues in the past and yeah, personally be aware of those. Sorry, but for the most part, those people just they seem to never address anything. I can never really surely know that they did not feel this way or have a history that would show them to, be a caring, kind person. All I know is that they talked politics. That's all I know of the man. And, some of his history and military background and some parts. But it's like, I say talk about that. Not just simply the work, but the person behind the work. I think that's why it's important for the quote unquote fame, but as well as just like understanding the work, I gotta understand who you were and what inspired you to make this work. And like, because like now in the modern day, we actually ask those questions and we see many of the people that make a lot of work are weirdos. Like they have creative minds, but that mind will tell a story that like, I feel like you missed important parts of this. And I feel like the only reason that you got to produce this more than someone who could have made something better is because of your connections towards people that know, like, hey, make something good but not too good. Make something interesting but not too interesting. Don't raise the bar. Don't make people fight even harder to rise to the occasion. Just make something that stays to the status quo. And that's why a lot of businesses, to me, I don't care when they fail. I actually laugh because it's like yeah, you kept to this standard, never really improving. Like, this is the quality that you should expect. I'm like, yeah, that's the quality I expect. And if it lowers and lowers, because like I expect it to always lower. If it's not improving, it's lowering. Because I have yet to meet or see anything that stays stagnant enough to actually recognize it. Even bridges deteriorate. If you can manage to stay stagnant that long, you are the stars. You are not of this world or this planet. Or you're something that already has been discovered and therefore doesn't warrant me having you on my radar. If it's something that seems so unchanging and it is something that I cannot wield or grab or already has been taken note of, I guess. Because that's the majority of history. If it's really not that useful and it's already known and we've done a lot of experiments, we could still do experiments, we classify that as low stakes. I really need to pay attention to that. But with that being said, I'm done.